pulling back the woke curtain after forming a diversity, equity, and inclusion board in 2019, the UNC School of Medicine will now ditch the initiative. When asked about it, they responded saying, quote, "There is no plan to implement the task force's recommendations now or in the future. Even if the recommendations were revisited in the future, further review and revision would be required." Just some of their recommendations included incorporating core concepts of social justice into the curriculum, recruiting students with more diverse backgrounds, or how about allowing students to advocate for their patients. Nancy Andersen is a former UNC surgical resident, and she joins us now. Nancy, thanks so much for joining the program. It seems like they were forced to do this, and they're not revisiting this because of the backlash, but because of, they say the mission is done.
No, the mission isn't done. This report had blatantly racist recommendations in it, including such recommendations that minorities can't sit through lectures. Of course, they put it in their academic word salad. But the problem with diversity, equity, inclusion is that it in itself is explicitly biased and racist, and it rejects meritocracy, which in medicine is a very needed thing. So it's a good first step that UNC admitted that this task force report is not usable, let alone racist and unethical. But the problem is the bureaucracy still exists, and the people responsible for it are still getting paid six figures on public taxpayer money.
You know, Nancy, how did we get so far here? I thought the goal was, you know, Nancy, if I have my credentials, you have your credentials, and we duke it out, and the best candidate wins the job. That was the goal, to stop discrimination and all that. But it looks like the pendulum has swung to the other side.
It has swung too far, and activists have taken over medical positions, and they're running the show at these public institutions. And the problem with medicine is that hospital systems are taking over. It's harder for private practices to compete with the reimbursements we have now. So doctors join hospital systems and then have to go along by the rules set with the bureaucrats in those systems. They're too scared to speak out. I am not working currently after I got my board certification. I decided not to practice, and that's one of the reasons why I can appear on this program. I know plenty of physicians who would be happy to speak to you about this, but they're too afraid for their jobs, and that type of atmosphere is not conducive to good medical care. But that's part of the goal of these DEI bureaucrats, is to keep those silent so they can further their own agenda.
Yeah. The UNC School of Medicine made a statement to us that said the task force being referenced was formed in 2019. A year later, it's completed its work and issued recommendations. Most of those recommendations were not adopted. The UNC School of Medicine DEI policies are aligned with accreditation requirements of the Association of American Medical Colleges. They say they were forced to do this. Do you agree with that, Nancy?
Somewhat. They're forced to do it, but they're also paid some of them paid seven figures. They can figure it out. They can figure out how to push back on these standards. They don't have to go as far as they go with some of their extreme resources. It's their job to figure out how to deliver the best medical care possible to the public. By buying into this DEI nonsense, it's a waste of time. They're not doing their jobs.
Yeah, I just, when I get medical care, I want the best doctor. I want the best care. I don't want to be playing fast and loose with someone trying to figure it out on the job. Nancy, thanks so much for joining the program.
Thank you for having me.
You got it.